We don't have to go over any protocols, which is nice. Yeah, so we can just go in. And anyway, like Jane was saying, it sounds funny to just go in because we're already in. So basically what we're doing is we're just joining together while we're in already.
Yeah, do you know, I think we need to start using different language, don't you? Because I think it's very misleading.
Yes,
for
I
new
agree.
people. Yeah. So what language could we use?
Well, let's just meet up in heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, we're almost just finding each other.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're doing. We're finding each other in heaven and joining together in unity and seeking a joint mandate around the Ark of the Covenant, really. So we're almost finding each other, or I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know, we kind of last time we kind of found a meeting place. Remember that room that had that portal thing? It was kind of like a gathering place, I thought, because it had all the different, you know, someone had seen a library in there and someone had seen classrooms
the stairs and the people to the side. I remember.
Yeah, I wonder if we should just try to meet there again. And then you go together in unity, put our foreheads together.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say that.
And then get our mandate.
Kathy, what's the room? This is that portrait room we went to?
No, were you on last week?
Yes.
Was it a portrait room? I thought it was more like a university kind of place. Kind of like there was...
Yeah.
There was a library, there was classrooms, we saw the seven spirits, we saw like a portal thing that was kind of like, can someone help me?
Round.
Okay, well, I'm very familiar with the classroom.
It was translucent, transparent.
Oh, you know, that I had to leave because I had funeral stuff to deal with. So this might have been after I left.
Sorry about your dad.
Yeah, sorry about your dad.
He's in our
Oh, well, he's in heaven with the master.
Exactly.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I maybe that's why I missed that part of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was the
door, and there were two benches with red velvety cushions on the sides, and then.
Oh, remember the candy cane looking thing, and there was a ribbon wrapped around a scroll.
I definitely remember that.
And then I saw David with his crown slide down it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was.
Well, I guess it doesn't really matter where we meet, as long as we just meet now. Because I think we need to just not be preconceived in whatever. So.
Yeah. Let's just meet and see where we're supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm liking the meeting in heaven instead of going in.
Yeah.
No, a lot of times it seems to be near the river of life.
Yeah, it really does. And the tree of life is right there too.
Exactly.
And like a green pasture kind of place.
More times than not, that's where I end up.
Yeah, me too. Okay, well, let's meet there then.
Oh, okay.
All right, so hello, everybody. Oh, I see everybody coming. Everybody's kind of floating. Floating.
Oh, dear.
You laugh as little goats.
I love that collective thing.
All right, so we kind of put our heads together, our foreheads, and fuse. we need to. That's our new thing, is fusing together, because then we really become like one unity.
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, I saw a zebra.
So is everybody there? Everybody put their foreheads
Yeah.
down?
Yeah,
Everybody?
I'm there.
Oh, who just came on? I see another. Oh, Diane's here. Hello, Diane. I opened my eyes and there's 7 boxes instead of 6.
Hi,
All right.
welcome.
I'm gonna lock the meeting now then.
Okay.
Okay. And Diane, we didn't enter in. We just met because we're already there.
Okay. Yep.
So we just kind of found each other, and we're fusing at the moment.
And I think as well, what we really want to do is we want to go to the highest realms in heaven. So the most intimate places, the areas of greater authority. So it's really striking me at the moment about the different veils, you know, the way, the truth, and the life. We don't want to be just living in the way and the truth, and we even want higher than the truth, which is quite exciting, really. So we want the life. We want to be eating off the tree of life. So if we can set our heart and intention on sourcing the river of life to its highest form, I think we're going to have constantly higher and higher encounters that are at our highest calling, really.
So we engage the river of life, or we step in it, or
No, I mean, we don't always have to engage the river of life to eat from the tree of life, because the tree of life is really represented in lots of different ways. But it's just the life is really representing the whole concept of all those sort of aspects: the tree of life, the river of life. But it's just setting your heart to go to the highest place, I think, really. Not settling for less, because I think what we've done so much in the Ecclesia is we've been happy with far less than heaven's been happy for us to have. And we've put it down to the fact that, you know, God doesn't want it yet, or we're waiting on God, and we're never waiting on God. Heaven's waiting on us to have the desire to have the highest calling that we're called to. And the Ark of the Covenant is a great one for putting. I put my head in there all the time, and I get instantly like real revelation.
well, I feel like I'm out in the galaxy, so I don't know if that's the highest level or where it is.
That's what I was seeing as well. This is Linda. And with our heads all together, I just saw like just a white portal. That's all I've been seeing is just a white portal that was created amongst us.
The sun. Okay, cool.
And then I think it was Jane when she was talking about going the highest of highest, I saw sparks coming out of the portal, almost like sparks like you'd expect from a rocket or something, like just like something getting ready to go, somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I really, really want to arc with the seraphim and the cherubim over the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
I don't always get that strong feeling, but it's really strong today.
I like to float between the seraphim above the ark and have it arc its electricity to me, because that's how I get revelation sometimes from the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh. So you don't always arc with the seraphim?
I'm sort of in between them, and the arc of electricity that runs between them.
But I think we are to replace Lucifer. So we are to directly arc with the seraphim as one of the arcs. It's my understanding theologically.
So standing on a third place, like the angels are the two, and then you're saying make like a third spot?
No, there's one angel and there's us.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's the two.
So one angel on one side of the ark, and we're on the other side of the ark.
Yeah.
And so then I become the conductive path between the two, and that conductive path is revelation.
Wow.
And when the seraphim throw back their wings, that translates to what's in heaven to earth. So I see we do that as well, that by that gesture we can translate whatever we see over the ark to the earth.
Wow.
Can I ask a question here? What's coming to me rather is, I've been seeing 222 lately, and I know that 2 can speak of arcing or speak of agreement. And I guess I'm kind of asking a question and maybe confirming that, yes, I'm in agreement that we do this because of those, because I felt like it was an invitation to agree or arc. I don't know if I articulated that clearly, but do you understand what I'm saying?
I think, yeah.
So I'm agreeing. I guess is what I'm saying, that we should do this.
So I guess I was gonna say this and didn't say it, but so we'll see if it has any bearing later. But when I saw the zebra, then I saw either the word or just an image of a monkey, and then another animal came right after that. So anyway, I just thought I better say it and put it out.
Oh, that's sounding a bit like Noah's Ark kind of animals. Do you think?
Animals, I know.
Yeah, that came to me instantly. I don't know what the others see.
Well, Simone with her 222 and 22 and 2 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, the animals went in 2 by 2, didn't they? Yeah.
That is cool. Thank you.
I too. Thank you.
Wow.
This is coming back, so I better say it. Oh.
And there's, do you know the whole thing about the ark wasn't an ark, really?
It was a box.
It was supposed to be Noah really just going into heaven, I think.
Yeah, I remember that teaching Ian did.
Yeah, so now I see. Yeah. An ARC, not an ARK, and we've misunderstood.
They didn't even live there. They were gone, right? And
really? Oh.
Right? They were in heaven. They weren't just like here floating.
Can you give a synopsis of that really quick, Bonnie, of that teaching, or can anybody?
I just want to add this to that because I remembered that, and I'm glad Jane said it, but a friend of mine donated. Our community with like 40 miles from my house has built this replica of the Ark, and she was so excited they got to cut the ribbon or be there for that ceremony, and she looked at me like, why aren't you excited? And I was like, it's so fake. It's not real. It's inaccurate. I couldn't say it to her, but she showed me pictures, and it was as if they had living quarters, and I'm like, that is just so in error. But I guess, Jane, can you refresh our memories? It was something about how they actually did go to heaven, and they weren't here those 40 days.
Yeah, that's all I know. I haven't really listened to it intently. Right. I just caught some brief things, but it absolutely resonated with my spirit.
Yeah.
And so that's supposedly the reason Moses didn't cross over as well, that he ended up going into heaven. But I think the point here anyway is around us being drawn into arcing and understanding our profound position with the angels to join in union to translate heaven to earth.
Nice. So when we were standing on our side of I could see the angel on the other side, like a red ball of fire with one wing. I won't say it was the biggest angel I've ever seen, but it was definitely a fire, glowing fire. I just got tidal wave.
So just trying to summarize what we've done thus far. There is a revelation of Noah that we're trying to get from the Ark of the Covenant and transfer to the earth. Is that correct?
I didn't necessarily see it as a revelation from Noah, just just that to understand our position about arcing over the Ark of the Covenant. Because that's really where, if we get that as a habit, that's really, I think, where we get the most intense revelation around our mandates, our daily mandates. Because it's taking up the highest position, really, we're called to replace Lucifer. And that's how Lucifer knew the intense intent of heaven, because he was arced over that, looking in. So that's why he knew all the plans of God so clearly. And I think that's where we can know the plans of God so clearly, if we can engage this Ark of the Covenant in a really profound way.
Wow. So
when you say, Jane, joining with angels, can you explain that a little bit?
Well, I see myself putting my hands up with their hands, touching, forming an arc physically. That's what I do all the time. And then I put my head down and I look into the Ark of the Covenant, and so far it's so all I see is like liquid gold, and because it's so overwhelming to me, I do go in it. Actually, I have jumped in it, and I have had a few experiences. I seem to go down and explore some places going down in it. But often I come out. Then if I come out, it's like my whole body is gold, and my head's all gold, and it's sort of like glory gold, and I'm staggering around because I'm so hit by the glory and the revelation.
So the ark in that case acts like a portal?
Well, yeah, I suppose you could describe it as that. Yeah, I mean, I just see it really as just the place to go for the daily mandates. So I don't think in terms of portals, but often then I'll pull my head out, and then I'll get a real sense of where I'm supposed to go. But often I'm so I'm like so whacked, I'm kind of in a bit of a silly mood. And I have all these sort of like sliding experiences, like down water slides and kind of silly kiddie things. Because I think it's just so profound, the revelation, that my spirit isn't mature enough yet to comprehend what I'm seeing.
So, go ahead.
Thank you for that. That was amazing. That was really good.
It sure was. I'm feeling God smacked right now.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm like enlightened for real. Sharing that for real.
Well, it was probably the most profound thing I ever heard from Ian Clayton, and the moment I heard it, I was just there. I was like, I just knew that was what we were called to. And it's funny, I can feel my spirit grows so quickly that I don't get whacked too easily. I quickly move into the latest revelation. But this, I still haven't progressed really with this, in terms of it not knocking me out.
So when you said you looked down, I could see a map.
Really? Oh. Yeah.
And it's a lot of, looks like sand, like a sandy topographical map, only it's actually like an architect would make. It's actually a little sandy map. But then you said jump in the gold, so I was like, oh, let me do that with you.
I wonder if we should all look at that map, though, and try and ascertain what that map says. And there's definitely something in that tidal wave, Bonnie. I can almost figure it out, but
Oh, okay, because I got avalanche after that, and I was like, well, I don't know if I should say that too.
Really? Yeah, I'm seeing something. But anyway, I won't say yet. But what can you see in the map?
Ooh. Well, I'm hoping it's not the Middle East, but I kind of have a sense it might be.
Because the map don't necessarily think of geographical locations on the earth. It might be a way of just showing what's in the Ecclesia.
Mm-hmm.
Where, what area of the Ecclesia needs attention.
Yeah, I see like a black, not a bump, it's not a bar, but I see a little bit of black in that. Tan sand world. Sand world.
Sand swirl, did you think?
Sand world. Sand world.
Oh, Sand World, yeah.
I kind of thought it was like a map, like a scroll, but anyway, it's got like a globe over it. Like if you had a city that you could, a snowflake city, and you could shake it, kind of like that kind.
So you're saying like a city made of sand?
Uh-huh. And we can put our hands on top of the bubble. It's I want to say a protective shield of some kind. But I guess, like you said, we can jump in the gold. We could definitely put our hand in there and change things around. Wow, this is... Oh. I'm afraid to say it, but can we change destinies by moving?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, that's really hit me recently with Ian's been talking about that, about how we can change spiritual seasons. We have that level of authority if we actually move into it.
Wow.
And when I heard that, I was like, everything in me wanted that. And I started pursuing that and seeking heaven about what the seasons are. And I've been doing nothing the last few days but thinking about the different ages. Do you know about the 9 ages? It's the most profound revelation that Ian's brought out, and it just absolutely resonates with me. How we move beyond the kingdom age, the church age, the kingdom age, the ecclesia age, the order of Melchizedek, that we've actually moved past the order of Melchizedek. So things are just accelerating so fast that we're now, no, I actually think we're about 4 seasons past that. But the next ones are peace. The next age is peace. Then it's rest. Then it's what's it after that? I've forgotten the one before it, but the last one's Zion.
I didn't know there was anything after rest.
Peace, rest. Yeah, there's one more, and then there's Zion. I was just looking at it. Funny enough, I was literally looking at that very thing about 10 minutes before I came on the call.
Is it on YouTube, Jane, or did you go to one of his conferences?
No, it's. I haven't listened to where he's talked about this. Sherry just told me, and she summarized it.
Well, he talked about it in Days of Wonder a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
it's one of the recent conferences, and I'm trying to find out which one it is so we can tell everyone to go and buy it. But here we are. I've got the post. She posted in one of the groups a while back. I'll post it for you again in this group if you like. It's New Beginnings. So it's Melchizedek, peace, rest, new beginnings, and then Zion. So the last couple of days, I've been engaging what it means to be in the age of peace, seeing if I can get any revelation around that.
Okay.
Wow, it's fascinating. You see, New Beginnings is all about, creating again, creating new things. So we can definitely co-create is absolutely.
Oh, okay. So that reminded me when he just was talking about what you said, the seasons, and how battles can be won because of the weather or the land. Like if an earthquake comes, an army can be eaten up. If a tornado comes and rain comes, the battle can be stopped because they can't go forward. So what if this was an opportunity to move the sand around to make it more level or more something? I'm not sure, but it seems like this little sand can be something we are looking in at, and if we reached in, we could change the little mini world like thing.
Woohoo! You've reached the same conclusion as me. Yeah, well done! Well done! Woohoo! Hey, that's a real advancement, Bonnie. That's a real advancement.
I was like, this is so creepy, but what if we did this? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then
Not creepy.
break out and
Well, that kind of ties to the avalanche and the tidal wave because those things are completely rearranging and changing.
wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And the tidal wave is us being able to prevent like the effects of a tidal wave, the destructive effects. So we can actually change things to stop the usual pattern of destruction of the enemy.
Nice.
And it was so funny because when you said tidal wave, I instantly
Like I'm hanging back.
I got revelation because a couple of days ago I was sitting there with nothing to do, and this program came on the TV on tidal waves. I ended up watching this thing on tidal waves, and I don't normally watch this kind of thing. And it was all about the whole west coast of America is in anticipation of a tidal wave. And suddenly my whole spirit was like, no, that's not right. People, we don't live there waiting for a tidal wave to come, And so when you said that, I instantly thought of that program and then I realized the revelation is we can stop things like that coming. But I think it's not just a physical tidal wave, it's the spiritual wave of evil destruction or the enemy's plans compared to the heavenly blueprint that we can bring forth. So it's not so much it's the enemy's plans, it's more really bringing forth the heavenly blueprint.
Yes. Awesome. Wow. So I see like orange flashes going through the clear shield over the little world. And we're still in the arc. We're still arcing, and that's in the middle. I guess he's encouraging us to keep going to the arc because he's going to give us revelation.
Yeah, I think what the question we need to ask and set our hearts on is what change, what heavenly blueprint does heaven want that we can put into place that will stop that kind of. Well, I also saw with the city of sand is sand can just collapse, and I think that's representative of the fragile nature of the earth and society, and everything we've built is really like a sand city that can just collapse.
Mm-hmm.
Without God being the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
If it's built on the wrong foundation.
All right.
think I've had revelation. Oh, should I share unless anyone else has got something first?
Okay, so sand under pressure becomes diamond.
Oh.
You didn't get that, did you?
Is that right? Is that true though? Is that?
I think Cole does. That's what I got.
Yeah, Cole. Yeah.
What? Okay, so that wasn't the revelation you got.
Sand turns to glass. I know that.
Oh, that's it. Yes, under pressure. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
like a diamond. Okay.
Yeah, it was the same principle anyway of pressure. Yeah, you put pressure on something and it actually becomes something beautiful that's just ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a profound truth there.
I like it.
Yeah. Anyone else got anything around what the heavenly blueprint is?
Well, we're in the fire, so this.
See, I'm seeing it's to do with the ages. You know, we've just spoken about the ages.
Okay. So that kind of goes with how I see the city. It's like on a layer. It's got a bottom. There must be another level below it, or I won't say above it because I see that dome.
Oh yeah, I don't know what the dome represents. Anyone got an idea of the dome?
I've gotten domes many times in dream visions where it's a circular dome around me or family, and it's a dome that's impenetrable from disaster, but like a time traveling portal, sort of, so to speak, dome. It's like heavenly titanium, but translucent, where you can see, and you can see the things that are going to come, and it's kind of like heaven on earth, like a round. It's just like divine protection, heaven dome, just surrounding whatever us and whatever we're in our heart.
Oh yes, so almost like a spiritual bubble.
Yeah.
I remember Ian describing when he goes to the banqueting table. It's like going in this spiritual bubble where you're just so protected and so full of the blessings and feasting off the banqueting table. Then you step to the atmosphere of the earth. And then when you find it too much, you step into this bubble of the banqueting table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that kind of illustration of.
I've seen it, just to throw something out there. This was more in a dream state, but I saw a city, coming under disaster. Like I saw a storm coming before I could be, when I knew no one else saw it, I saw it coming and forming. And all of a sudden the storm started to just go haywire. And I took a step, and my family took a step, and we were all in one of those titanium, like heavenly titanium bubbles, but translucent, and everything had to ricochet. Like it was just like, but I've seen it many times, many different, many aspects to it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So are we saying that this bubble is acting as a protection for the sand city?
Yeah, but I can see that we could put our hands through it. So that must mean that we're part of what God's allowing us to help form.
Okay.
Change, move.
You see, what I'm really getting, it's about the ages. We've just been talking about, moving on to the ages and understanding that those are changing. But the understanding of the current wineskin is really only at the order of Melchizedek. They have no concept beyond that. And I think what I'm seeing is that heaven saying now we must go beyond that, and begin to operate in the next new spiritual age, which is the age of peace. So I think that's what all the other aspects of what we've seen with the tidal wave and the city is like putting a hand in that sun city and morphing it to the next new spiritual age. So releasing that. So we're effectively releasing the age, the understanding. It's not releasing the age because it's already happened. It's releasing the understanding of the age of peace, which goes beyond the order of Melchizedek.
Okay, so I see them like layered, like a pink layer and then a green layer, like maybe a smashed cake would be.
See, I think we need to ask what does the age of peace mean?
Okay.
Everything in my spirit is like, I've got to know this. I've got to know what it means.
I agree, because this dome, to me, I immediately thought of like Jesus in on the lake with the disciples in the boat, and with the storm coming, and he just kind of says, "Peace, be still." And this dome kind of thing is, if we have the authority to create these domes around people or ourselves or whatever, this is a component. To me, this seems like this is a symbol or a component of this period of peace.
Very interesting.
That's good.
So are we in agreement about this mandate? I mean, is anyone feeling like anything else? Or?
I'm in agreement. I've actually experienced the dome too. So that's exciting.
Wow.
Can you say again, Jane, what part are you asking we're in agreement about?
Whether really the mandate of this encounter is to explore and also release the understanding of the new spiritual age of peace to the new wineskin.
I agree.
Yes, I agree.
I agree too.
Because I think it's an interesting principle that, in the past, the Ecclesia has just so got stuck. I mean, the Ecclesia is the majority of the population in the world is still in the church age. So they've missed the movement of heaven, even to the kingdom age. They have no idea what the kingdom age means. A few do, so few are operating in the kingdom age, but now they're thinking that's it, it's the kingdom age, and so they're stuck in the kingdom age. Then there's a few move to the ecclesia age, but then their chances are they're going to want to take camp there. And even a few who've been exploring the order of Melchizedek, can start to think that's the end of the story. But what's hitting me is the intense acceleration is phenomenal. I mean, I couldn't believe it when Ian was saying we're four ages past the kingdom age. I mean, we are just motoring on. Heaven's motoring on at a phenomenal pace, phenomenal. And we are so behind. We have to understand we are behind. We are not waiting for God.
Okay.
We are behind.
I was thinking we were in the kingdom age. Can we just go to the Zion age?
No, I think it needs to be. We need to move in our understanding of those ages. I think is my spirit saying that, because
Well, I'll gladly go to the 3 ages farther down. Sweet.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting point. Yeah, I think that's probably something we have to really seek wisdom on. That's a big question, really.
I just see a lot of pink in this age.
Well, and you have to fulfill what was in that age, what the intent of it was.
I know, but we
You
just
can't just blast through it, experience it, and do it.
Yeah, Roger, I think you're absolutely right there. What I'm seeing is that we have to know and understand and move through these ages to allow our spirit man to grow. We can't just catapult to one, because we won't know what it means practically to get there.
My question becomes, you've got fringe guys like Ian, Justin out on the edge, ready to go into these new ages, but where is the unity of the body in going through these together?
Yeah.
Is it okay for us to go through it serially, but not together?
Well, I think that's exactly what I'm seeing is the mandate today, because I know on my life, my mandate is to bring the Ecclesia with us, not to get so far ahead. Mine isn't total exploration like Justin. Mine is to bring the Ecclesia with us. Right. So I have to keep back treading and figuring out, how do we explain this to the Ecclesia and how do we keep them moving forward? So, yeah, but we've got to do a little bit of exploration to know what it is to then explain it. But I feel I've got a pretty good grasp on the order of Melchizedek now. So I'm just seeing that I do really need to understand the order of peace to be able to break it down for people to know what that means.
I'm with you.
But I think, Jane, you know how you were saying that there's going to be a huge acceleration where non-believers are going to come in and they're going to accelerate, like they are going to be able to go through the different ages pretty quickly to catch up.
Yeah,
where we're not going to get ahead of ourselves, of course, so we'll stay in the peace age. But I think because of that acceleration, we'll be able to get people quickly into the peace age because of that.
Yeah.
I think part of that is experiencing the rich time where they really do understand the fullness of the age, but it's a dilated version of it. So it's not like they're going through it faster, it just, they experience it faster. Does that make sense?
Right.
It's a rich time thing.
Yeah, rich time.
Well, it makes me think of the 2 parables. I mean, well, one parable in the Bible of the workers in the I think it's the field or the vineyard.
Yes.
How the latter ones get paid the same amount as those that are working all along. So that principle is ringing true to me. And then second, I think is it in Amos where the sower overtakes the reaper? That's what came to me as well. So so I'm just as you all were speaking, when Kathy was speaking, that's what came to me. So it's biblical that, I mean, I just see that rings true in the things of God for people to be able to just come in and rapidly catch up or get the same as people that have been in it for a long time.
Rich time. Yep. Gotcha. Cool.
But I don't know exactly how that translates, but that's what came to me.
And I think that it illustrates a really good point that has been on my spirit for the last few weeks, is helping people understand that one, we won't have to go through the stages that previous forerunners have. So we don't need to think, everything that Ian and even Mike experienced and the years it took them to do certain things.
Right.
We have to copy that we are, the gates have been opened, that things are just now a lot easier for us. But also I'm seeing that we must move. We don't have to really buy into understanding everything academically. If we go and really just go to heaven, see what resonates with our spirit, get the infused knowledge, we will be able to flow through these ages and these and the revelation with peace and joy in a way that we couldn't if we feel we have to rationally understand everything academically, do lots of the old ways of learning, which are just so draining. I'm seeing people studying the first love gate for 3 months and checking out every Bible verse and every this and that on the first love gate. The first love gate is a simple choice. You choose every day to make Jesus your first love. There's nothing more complex that you need to understand. And if we keep going back to those old methods, we will pull ourselves so much, we will get so much overwhelmed. It won't be fun anymore. We won't get much revelation because we'll be taking so long to get the smallest piece of revelation, and then we'll suddenly get glimpses that there's all this other revelation out there, and we'll be so overwhelmed we'll probably want to give up. And I can just see it as the ploy of the enemy if we do not understand the acceleration that's going on and how it's okay to let go. It's okay to let go of the Bible. It's okay to let go of even teaching. Teaching was never really a proper understanding of teaching, and that is not listening to sermons. That was wrong at any rate. So it's embracing new learning methods which are going to facilitate this acceleration. But the most important thing we must not let go of is the body and the role of the Ecclesia. We must not just say, oh, well, I'll just go to God, I'll get the revelation, and that's it. Because we were never designed that way. And the way we double check is through the Ecclesia. It's not really in-depth Bible study and commentaries and all that, because that's buying into the tree of knowledge, and it's very fraught with problems and misinterpretations, and we're not growing in our relationship with God, being able to hear and being the assurance that we hear. But when we learn to hear from God, we must double check with the Ecclesia. It's very dangerous just to think we've so heard from God and we're right. And God, the heaven really wants us to find that agreement with each other. So if we can get those principles going, that will form a foundation for moving through these ages really well.
Wow.
And I think that's what's interesting. What's coming to me about what the age of peace means is that that's a sort of peace we will experience, if you see what I mean. Because it's peaceful when you find that beautiful unity in the Ecclesia, and you also can hear from God pretty well. You can take on so much revelation so quickly without the unrest that comes from theological debate and exegesis.
Yeah.
As you were saying that, Jane, what I saw is people stepping into their sonship, believing what they're receiving in the heavenly realm and resting in that and I think that's really what true rest is. It's believing God, receiving, and resting. And then, like you said, just doing the just sharing those revelations in the Ecclesia and allowing confirmation, I'm thinking. And just like you just said, and that in itself would, I think, will accelerate things. But also, too, what came to me was just how, people have said how they've learned languages by just simply eating scrolls of languages.
Yeah.
To me, that's a clear example of this. And so, that's just what came to me while you were talking.
One of the things Jane was also saying was, this constant Bible study, reading the Bible on and on and on and on and on with the Bible. Ian was saying that the Word was never really intended to be a written thing. It was intended to be a scroll that you eat, and you just assimilate it. So the entire Bible, and that happened to Maria Woodworth Etter, who was given a revelation and suddenly knew the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation. She knew it word for word. She just assimilated it. And I think that's a revelation that we have to start working towards ourselves rather than this constant reading of the Word. And like she was also saying, this idea that the pioneers, it takes them a long time to do something. Well, once the pioneers forge the trail, before long, it's a highway.
Hello.
It doesn't take 20 months to get to some place. It takes 20 hours.
Yeah.
Even in the natural, we have that example, right?
Yes.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, I can't believe you said that, Roger. I was just, I was just talking to my husband yesterday, and I said the very question to him. I said, well, it suddenly came to me, was the Bible ever supposed to have been written?
No, I don't believe it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was. I think the only thing that came to me was that Moses was meant to write down the 10 Commandments. But after that, I think a lot of them, it was more around, they were just sharing their experiences, and it was never meant to be a be-all and end-all, book to worship almost. We worship.
The 10 Commandments are one side of the ketubah between God and Moses.
Yeah.
That was God's requirements in the marriage with Moses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then he was supposed to take that down to the people.
Right, and they freaked out.
So you're saying really that was more a thing connected with his relationship with God?
Yes, initially.
Yeah, because this came to me so long ago, before I've really barely explored heavenly realms, but I got into the sapphire cube and the whole what that meant, and the writing of the 10 Commandments on the sapphire cube. And I suddenly had this revelation that we are capable of writing similar things like the 10 Commandments.
Right.
That is the level we have been given. And I actually went in and I actually did that exercise, and I tried to hear what sort of commandments I would receive from heaven, like the 10 Commandments. So I think that's the level we're called to, is that each oracle, each manifest Son of God begins to see the blueprint so well that they begin to write it out, and it almost becomes like multiple infinite sets of 10 Commandments, but which then forms the new way of operating that is operating out of, which is really describing the layers of the tree of life, not the layers of the tree of knowledge.
Yes, I get that.
That was a lot.
Wow, I'm speaking to myself here as well. This is just coming out of me. That's quite shocked me, that.
Oh. Thank you, Lord.
It's the nature of revelation, right?
Yeah.
I see a rainbow over you.
Wow. Wow. But we're going to make a huge transition to get to that point. You know, so we've got to be able to really assured that we can hear well. And we've got to double check with the Ecclesia.
I think if I can say what's a summary that's coming in to me is that, and reminds me of that talk that Chris Blackaby did. I don't know if you're all familiar with him. He just did that. Yeah, that video that he just did in India. I think it was India. And he was saying that for when the church operates in the first realm or the second realm, which represents the 30-fold or the 60-fold, or or you could say the physical realm and the second heaven realm, you know, where the demons reside. Really, when we operate in those two realms, we're still carnal. We're of a very carnal nature. But the third realm, and really the realms above that, where the heavenly realms are, we'll be operating as mature sons. So to me, what we're saying is that the church, the Ecclesia, we have to step into maturity and operate as mature sons. It just cuts a lot of the unnecessary nonsense out. And we won't be limited, literally. We won't be limited by time. We can accelerate, and it just streamlines everything. I mean, we just aren't limited. So to me, that's what I just hear that being one of the undertone statements we're making here. Just how the Ecclesia really has to not meddle in these carnal levels, but really come up to operate in the mature sense, which is obvious, but I just felt to extract that for some reason.
Oh, yeah, well said, Simone. I think that's beautifully expressed. That's just because if we look back, you see, the difference I'm seeing now is we are getting such profound revelation from simple methods. Whereas in the church age, decades, centuries of theological debate with contradicting opinions, and also it really wasn't, they were making wrong conclusions. They were making wrong conclusions left, right, and center. The heresy was profound. And yet the biggest thing they were fearful of was the fear of heresy, but it was the fear that was almost bringing them into more heresy. So now we've left the fear of heresy aside and are running with relationship and intimacy. We're getting far less heresy now than we were before. And that's a sad thing, that those who are still stuck in traditional church still believe that they are in less heresy than we are. And if they moved over to us, they'd be more heresy.
And it goes even beyond that. They start to label everything witchcraft and they don't know how to deal with it. It's magic, it's occult, it's whatever. They don't understand the occult has truly taken some of this and created their counterfeit of it. But then they don't see the truth side of it, the kingdom side, the heavenly realm side of it.
Yeah, why would the occult take it if there was an element of truth in it?
It's like they say, no forger creates a counterfeit $3 bill.
Yes. I love the way you express things. That's fabulous.
So with all this said, how would in my city there's a heroin epidemic, and one thing in my mind, and running into a person at a restaurant, it came to me to go to the source. And so whoever is funding heroin coming in, it's a huge epidemic. And then I get to the point, well, yes, it's a spiritual thing. So there's a spirit driving these key people that are allowing heroin in. I don't feel like I should go in by myself to the court, but am I in error? Can I go on in on my own and deal with it? Or how do we do stuff now with those kind of mandates?
Yeah, I mean, really, ideally, you need. It's better if you seek people in the Ecclesia with the same mandate, and then you form a bench. So you could form a bench around the whole heroin issue if you felt it was that bigger thing on you. I mean, if it was a smaller issue that you felt, you didn't need an intensive bench, then you could actually just form with others over a region, and it'd be one of the issues.
So it is better to go in with a bench than by yourself.
It is, but if you can't find, because we're in such early days and there's so few of us around, if you can't find other people, you can then just ask for your men in white linen and your angels, and you form a bench with them. So we're never held back. We can always move forward. So I do so much of my stuff just with men in white linen because I just can't find people who are resonating with the same scroll. But down the track, I think as more and more people appear, we need to start bringing in the Ecclesia members and not just doing it in heaven on our own, because that's a very dangerous trend. And also it can mean that we're not hearing fully correctly either, but also it sets up this whole independent, we're not one body, we don't need the Ecclesia, we just need God. And I can see that as a real danger of this whole thing, that people are going to get the message so much it's all about God, not the Bible, and then they're going to take that to the other extreme, and then they're going to come up with all these wrong, they're not going to hear well, and they're going to come up with wrong conclusions.
Well, the problem there is that the territorial angels that are governing this heroin trade, they have authority. So you have to match their authority with mandates from heaven. Once you do that, then it falls very quickly. But I think in the church age, all this spiritual warfare and prayer walking and all that stuff was pretty ineffective because they didn't have the authority to challenge the authority of the territorial angel.
Yeah, absolutely.
One other thing, you were talking about the new translocation or whatever that we'll be walking in. I just heard, was it Ian talking about it? How Jesus didn't walk through the people when he was walking to get away from the crowd. He just stepped to the side in a rip in the, I don't know what the rest of the phrase was, heaven or rip in the veil, but he just, because it hadn't been torn then, but he just stepped aside and walked through them. I'm like, obviously, I get this.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, that's the level of what we can operate at under the order of Melchizedek. I mean, most of us are not operating even a fraction of the order of Melchizedek at the moment. So we have to keep going through the stages and learning aspects to move into that. But just back to this peace thing, I just got a bit of revelation that what was it?
The rip in the veil? The rip?
It's gone. It's gone. But it was something about the... Oh, I know what it is. Yeah. We'll know if we're on the right track because the fruit will be the peace.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if we are moving then into the age of peace, we that should really be our guiding principle. And if there's heaps of that there's no peace in our spirit, stuff are not resonating with that, then that can be a warning to us, but it's also that's how it's going to be if we're in truth. We're going to have such a depth of peace in our spirits. And I think that's probably the fruit I've reaped. If I look back, I mean, I've only been in this 2.5 years, I think.
Oh,
Maybe coming up. Yeah, it's really short. The peace I have experienced compared to the turmoil I experienced in the church. I mean, for 30 years, I've been a Christian 31 or 2 years. The turmoil in my spirit in that time was so intense. Every time I'd go to church, I would come home. I was so upset. I was like, this is not meant to be this way. We're meant to do more than this. And there was so lack of peace. Whereas the peace I feel now is intense.
Yes.
Even over the most scariest revelations, you know.
Yeah. I was explaining it to two women from my former Monday night Outback prayer group, and just like you said, just the difference. I was doubled over just with like, I knew there was more. I knew there was more. Thank God, you know, it was so boring down here, but I just kept going through it, and hallelujah.
So can anyone see any more depth of revelation of the age of peace? Let's dig in and really, there's probably multiple levels of what.
Well, it's still confirmation for me because I've been in this peace, wanting to create this. So I was looking back in time with the hippies and the peace movement back then, with the peace signs and the peace symbols and the peace, and they just got it. They had the desire, but they got it all wrong. You know, they got it all wrong. So what we're moving into now is not like, it's more heavenly blueprint versus what they were trying to create in an earthly type fashion, you know, with multiple partners and, you know, free and nakedness, all that, you know, compared to, so that's what I've been getting a lot lately, of how it looks to have heavenly peace. Yeah, so
good. So where does the peace come from? As the source, as the root. I mean, we know it's all about eating off the tree of life, and
that's what I was just going to say.
But there's more. There's got to be more than that.
Well, you know what's coming to me, Jane. Let me just submit this. Let me see if anybody else resonates with this. You know, I'm seeing a picture of Jesus being at peace, asleep on the boat. You know, when they were crossing from one side to the other. Now, you know, and you know, Ben's all that turmoil was going on, he was at peace, and not only was he at peace, but he basically brought that peace out into the atmosphere in the earth as well. And so my thought is, and then to answer the question, where did that peace come from? Where did he get that peace? I believe he basically extracted it from heaven and released it, you know, to the atmosphere around him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if so anyway, that's what came to, that's what I saw when we were talking about peace.
Yeah, I think you've just summed up what I've just had revelation on, that he saw it from heaven. So the reason Jesus was in such peace is because he knew the highest blueprint and knew there was no need for concern. And I wonder if that's what we've got to get to that point, is we've got to get to understanding the highest blueprint and then we'll see everything's okay. God's got it in hand.
Which is, if I could track with that some more, it's pretty powerful. Not only he was living here, and that he was at peace here because he was there. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I mean, but it just goes back to, again, literally operating from the higher realm, the basically the Supreme Court of courts in existence. I mean, he was just there. I mean, to the point that there was turmoil all around him here, but it was as if it didn't even exist. And, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And that's amazing. And then he rebuked them because they didn't do that. So he was expecting them to do that as well. And he just flipped the whole environment because of it.
So I'd just like to tag on to that. He was the Prince of Peace. So he was peace. That's another phrase they said, he was our peace, our peace.
Yeah. You know that Chris Blakely podcast? Yeah. He talks there about we just show up.
Yeah.
When he said those words, I mean, I didn't even catch the whole thing. I just caught that bit, and that summed it up for me. That's the level we have got to get to in our understanding our authority. We have to grow in our crowns, our coronations, our knowing the immense level, the size of our spirit man, that we can get to that point where all we know we have to do is show up. And I think even some of this protocol we're going through at the moment will start to feel a bit religious to us, with all the court protocols and the scribes and the chancellors and all that eventually our spirit man will be so huge that we will just be able to show up, and we will see the manifestation in the earthly realm quite quickly. And I think that's probably where we're moving to with the ages of peace and then the age of rest. See, rest, that ties in with rest. We just rest, we show up in heaven. And then the next age is new beginnings, that we begin to see real physical manifestation on the earth. Like the parting of the waters. I mean, we've got to get to that level, haven't we? We've got to be able to get to the level we can stand on the edge of the waters, hold our hand up with Moses' rod, and as long as we know it's a heavenly blueprint, we can command the waters to part. Mm-hmm. I really want that. Ooh.
So I'm seeing activity in our sand world. So while we were first talking, I could see like pink Himalayan salt being shaken down over it, like as if we could release the peace. And then as you were talking about going into the rest, and the last one is so close, going into the kingdom of Mount Zion, I could see the mountain in the center, like the sand got flattened out, and there was white. So I know that that's God's mountain, the glory on Mount Zion. So it's still under that dome. Wow. Maybe the rest is when the sand becomes flattened out, smoothed out, just like a even.
Can you say that again then? So just quickly, what did you see happening?
While I was seeing little pink shapes like dotted around, like it was inside the sand world going down. And as I kind of tried to hear what it was almost like, I'd say, is that salt, like Himalayan salt? And then you would say something about rising higher to the mountain. I'm like, oh, okay, possibly it's like peace, the salt. Anyway, I'll leave that to us to figure out. So I saw that. And then the next thing was as if the whole sand moved in a bit of a swirl, but in the middle became a mountain of sand with white, like a cloud on top of it, like a cone on top of the Mount Zion age. So the rest of the area below the sand mountain is flat, smoothed out.
Is salt purifying, isn't it? Whether that represented the purification of the body to be able to move. See, I wonder if that's just confirmation that we're moving towards the Zion age.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's where our peace comes from, is Zion.
Yeah. And most of us don't really understand the whole Zion thing. In fact, Sherry and I were just really talking about it in depth yesterday, and understand the difference between Mount Zion and Zion. Oh yes, and Ian's brought out new revelation around 4 cities.
Oh.
Yeah, you got to get hold of this. I think it's quite poignant, and something to do with the stones in our breastplate. What we need to move through the 9 pillars of ascension. And then we form these cities, and there's a city of God, city of Holy Spirit, city of Jesus, and a city we can create.
It's amazing how much understanding you have, Jane. Are you getting these teachings from Ian Clayton YouTube videos?
No, because I can't. No, you have to buy these, and
okay.
I'm not even sure they're on the website anymore because I think he's so behind on downloading them.
Wow.
No, I've just got this from Sherry's. Really been going. She's on the ball with the biggest principles. She's got a real scroll around understanding the highest revelation, and she just went to 3 conferences recently of Ian. So she summarized it, and we've been talking about it.
Oh, nice.
Just the 2 of us. So that's the only snippets I know. So I'm just revealing to you some snippets that Sherry shared with me. And I've just been literally only in the last 2 days have I had that download shared with me. And so I just started exploring it yesterday, and I could just make sense of it, that we're called to co-create a city of our own. And I said to Sherry, do you think we're meant to create, like we can create our own garden, can we create our own city? And she was saying, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I said, yeah, it makes sense to me. And in fact, I might have even already been doing this. Because
because Roger and Diane and I think we created Heliopolis, which is a city.
Yeah.
Created that.
Yeah. We probably have all been doing it in elements and not realizing what we've been doing. And we ended up in this other account a few days ago. We ended up in this golden city, and we were this river flowing through it, and we were creating something about the release of the message to people without the need for traditional evangelism. And it sort of felt a bit like that we were forming our own city out of our desires because we wanted that so much. So it all gets very confusing because it's all multidimensional, and what happens in one, affects the other cities. But I think the principle, if we can just grasp the principle of co-creation, we are co-heirs with Christ. And so not only are we called to just see the blueprint and release it, we are called to bring out our creativity, to create new things that are not even on the heavenly blueprint. Because we will create, once we're so entwined with heaven, we will create beautiful things in line with that. We won't create, what's the word? Abused forms of that. But I think that's where we have to get to that point of being a mature, manifest son. So we create in a good sense. We don't create bad things.
And I got another question, Jane. The arcing with angels. Where can I get more information about that? Is that an Ian Clayton teaching as well on his website?
Yeah, it's a really old one, that, but I don't know. He might have just slipped. You know how Ian slips in profound truths in the middle of something that are just so blown away, but he never does a podcast on that principle. I think he slipped it in. One of his general ones that's called some topic that's a bit innocuous and doesn't inspire you to listen, but it's got the most profound thing in. So I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Originally, he went to Company of Burning Hearts and did a bunch of videos or audios there. That's where I got that teaching, because 2012 or something, I went and downloaded all that stuff off of Company of Burning Hearts. And that teaching about the ark and how he spells it A-R-C instead of A-R-K, and what the symbolic meaning of that was from a Hebrew priest point of view, and then as a Melchizedek priest that we are, how we go into the Holy of Holies and change that atmosphere that they used to have to do with incense. But it was an electrical charge, and that teaching is in those Company of Burning Heart downloads.
Okay.
So,
but remember, because we're in this new phase now, and this is what has been revealed to me, because I was starting to get overwhelmed with podcasts in the end, and I was like, the detail to get the key points was too slow for me, and I was missing the key points. But we have got such a good relationship now with God and heaven. All we need to do is go and ask for confirmation, for wisdom to reveal the deeper, and that will actually grow us more than listening to podcasts.
Yeah, that's mad confirmation, Jane. Because I've felt the Holy Spirit tell me. He said, "If you just come to the Father, He will teach you. He will teach you directly." That's what that's a man. I'm glad you said that, because it does. You just get trudged up in all the stuff.
You do, and we'll end up like traditional church, where we just feel we need these certain teachers that have got this profound revelation, without us growing our spirit man to recognize we can we can get to that point of certainly understanding it, but also we can get to the point of having more profound revelation than Ian Clayton.
Well,
Come on, guys, we got to believe this. I've started to believe this now, because the way I've been talking dawned on me the other day. I suddenly felt like I'm talking like Justin. I'm starting to say this and this and this, and I suddenly realised how Justin got to be in the place he is.
Yeah.
But we can do that as well. It's not for the chosen few.
Mm-hmm.
right.
Okay, I'm gonna knock on that door, Jane.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Simone. I'm so glad you want that. I know a lot don't. It's pretty scary.
Because
But
I feel like I feel so close, but I'm not there. And it's frustrating to me, and I feel that it doesn't have to be that deep. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And so that's what. So it makes me ask then. So what? How do we do this? How do we get more revelation to Ian Clayton? What do you?
I would put it down to two key factors. One is the extent to which we keep our gateways open. So constantly checking that there's that free flow of the seven spirits, of anything around your gateways. And the moment if you're blocked, you really address it and take it seriously, and don't just cover it and say, oh, it doesn't really matter. And then the second is keeping your head in the Ark of the Covenant, because the more we do that, we will just see, and it will make total sense, and we won't even need all the theology, the science behind that. All we'll need is a couple of snippets. Someone might say something, wham, and then we get the theory, and we get the principle, and our spirit's so in peace. And that's how we can get the acceleration.
Okay.
I mean, I'm so, what's the word now? If I hadn't had this new revelation that Ian's brought out, I was starting to get bored. I mean, I was really like, is this it? Come on, I've absorbed this. I've absorbed these principles. I need more. Oh, yes, and that's the other thing I do daily, is I cry out daily for higher and higher revelation. So set the intentions of your heart for higher and higher revelation. Plus, you've got to be able to cope with what it means. You've got to want, and that's what we came out with last time. You've got to want truth. But as long as you want truth, I think those three principles, it's all we need, really. And then just speaking out, and then getting the confidence of what you're saying is actually good. We've got to speak it out, because I think there's a lot that are just not speaking out because it's a false form of humility. And, who am I to say this? And there's all these wise people out there, and I'm just a little housewife kind of type of person, and I don't know anything, and I don't know, science and theology. But it's never meant to be that way. It was always meant to be the whole body being oracles, and everyone bringing a little bit, which together gave the intense revelation. So we must never get to the point where we're so reliant on someone like Ian and Justin, and no one else can, or we don't even believe anyone else, We're so distrusting of anyone else that if they say something, we're like, oh, well, I don't know who you are. But we listen to every single person, but then take it to heaven for confirmation. I mean, you'll always get a few that will probably say things that are a little bit.
Well, that's kind of a church age thing where it's all about credentialing.
Yeah, exactly. Who are you? And often, when you actually examine some of these people who had the profound revelations, they didn't have, this incredible holy lifestyle. And then it was so much pressure on them, and then they were the ones that always looked up to, and eventually they get too much hubris because the accolade for one person is too much for any soul to bear. And then often that pushes them over into, what's the word?
Preeminence.
Yeah, so it's not good to do that to anyone. So, like, we must never do that to Ian. We must never do that to Justin, to Mike Parsons, to anybody. Because eventually that will be too much for their spirits to bear. If we've put them on the pedestal, we need them to give us the revelation.
Well, and then the money starts to roll in.
Yes, yes,
people
yeah. The moment, yeah, and then the moment they start trading on the money side, it affects the purity of the revelation.
So I should probably ask the Lord too, but if you get a mantle, like you can go in and pick out a mantle from the mantle room, and I've chosen one, and I feel like it's just been mine ever since, like that person had it. I mean, can you help me with that one? Oh my God. Do we actually live out through, I don't know, it's hard to figure that out, how much of a role that mantle plays in our real daily life too.
Oh, can anyone else help with that? You'd always post that, Bonnie, in the group.
I think I'm getting a download.
Are you? Well, there you go, you see. We often just need to ask, don't we? We need to ask.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the key is posing the questions. I've found that the revelation comes when you pose the questions. The revelation doesn't come out of thin air in a blind flash of divine ecstasy. It comes when you set your heart and desire to pursue revelation, pursue God.
Okay. I'm going to ask this because Justin just posted the Ecclesia, the ecstatic worship of David is coming, the 10th. Lord, how do we get that ecstatic worship at Montgomery Community Church or in wherever I am, Lord?
Oh, I can give you a lot of revelation on that, but that's probably for another time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll press my forehead. How about let me open my eyes and I'll look at you?
Yes, do that. Yeah. But I think what I've seen for you, Bonnie, is that you are really being called to a higher level of getting this revelation yourself. You're such a good seer.
Yeah.
You can do this. You just got to believe that you can do it, and that you can. Yeah, you can really. You can see the revelation in it.
Okay. So I'm gonna go.
You've got all the pieces. Do you know what I mean? The DNA is all there.
Okay.
Just combine it with faith.
Okay. Well, like
and
you
then,
said, it's good to speak it out and get that question out there, and then it's like, oh, download.
Yeah. And see, that could be really where, if all of us start to really begin to speak like oracles in these sessions, we get confidence in a beautiful united environment. That's what I find I needed to do with why I had the chat groups, because I could air something I was seeing, and I could get some confirmation from the body, but I could also, it forged my thought processes, so I could actually grasp the principle more by articulating it than if I just tried to do it on my own with God. And then it gave me the confidence to speak out on a bigger platform. But I couldn't have done that if I'd bypassed that.
Makes sense.
But I think we've achieved heaps today. Do you feel complete, everyone? And shall we stop
I do.
recording? Yeah.
Stopping.